The sky burned red as the human settlement lay quiet under the dying sun. In the distance, a ship unlike anything anyone had ever seen hovered above the hills. Its silver surface shimmered, reflecting the last light of day, and a strange hum filled the air. The villagers whispered among themselves, fear and awe blending in their voices. None of them had ever seen an alien before, and yet the rumors had begun long ago, stories of a powerful alien king who visited planets to test the courage of their people. Among the villagers was a young girl named. She had hair the color of autumn leaves and eyes that seemed too bright for someone her age. Had always felt different from the others, curious about the stars and dreaming of worlds far beyond her own. Her father had told her stories of brave humans who faced the unknown, and she carried those tales in her heart like a flame that would not die. When the ship finally touched the ground, the air around it shimmered with energy. Could feel the vibration under her feet as if the world itself was holding its breath. The villagers were frozen, unsure whether to run or hide. From the ship emerged a figure taller than any human with skin that glowed faintly in the dim light. His eyes were deep and piercing, colored like molten gold. Every movement he made was deliberate, powerful, yet strangely calm. He was the alien king, a being whose presence commanded respect without words. Despite her fear, stepped forward. She had always believed that humans could show courage when it mattered most, and something inside her told her this moment was one of those times. The villagers gasped, but's heart pounded with determination. She was small, fragile even, but her mind was sharp, and she would not let fear control her. The alien king's voice resonated in her mind rather than her ears, strange and melodic. I have traveled across stars to find one who is unafraid. I sense you, human child. Step forward. Swallowed, but her voice was steady. I am not afraid. The king's golden eyes studied her, and a faint smile touched his lips, though it was unlike any human smile. It was a mixture of curiosity, surprise, and something deeper, perhaps respect. Bold, he said simply. Most of your kind would run. You face what you do not understand. The villagers whispered among themselves. They had never heard anyone speak to the king like that. Most would have dropped to their knees, terrified, but stood her ground, feeling the weight of her own courage and the dreams of her people behind her. The alien king extended a hand, not threatening but inviting. Come, you will see what lies beyond your world. You will face trials you cannot imagine, and yet I believe you may endure. Hesitated for only a moment. She looked back at the small village, the smoke rising from cooking fires, the animals grazing quietly, and she thought of the stories her father had told her. Stories of humans facing impossible odds and triumphing through intelligence, bravery, and heart. She turned back to the king. I will go, she said, her voice firm. I will face what comes. The king nodded. His golden eyes seemed to shine brighter as if approving of her resolve. Very well, let us begin. As she stepped toward the ship, the air seemed to hum louder. The ground beneath her feet vibrated, and for a moment she felt as if the stars themselves were welcoming her. Though she was small and fragile compared to the alien before her, she carried within her the fire of humanity, a fire that refused to bow to fear, no matter how vast the universe might be. And so left the only home she had ever known, stepping into a world of wonders and dangers beyond imagination. She did not know what awaited her, but she carried something the alien king could not take away. Her courage, her mind, and her unyielding spirit. In that moment, a human spark burned brighter than the stars themselves, ready to face whatever the cosmos would send. The inside of the alien ship was nothing like it ever imagined. Walls shimmered with shifting colors, and the floor seemed to hum beneath her feet. Strange symbols floated in the air, glowing softly, and the scent of ozone filled her senses. The alien king led her through long corridors, his presence both comforting and intimidating. He said nothing at first, letting her take in the wonder and the unfamiliarity of the place. His heart raced. She had crossed stars to reach this moment, yet now that she was here, the vastness of the unknown pressed down on her. Her mind reached for the stories of her ancestors, tales of humans surviving storms, wars, and impossible odds. She realized that courage was not the absence of fear, but the choice to move forward despite it. Finally, they arrived in a chamber that seemed endless. The walls were smooth and silver, reflecting a soft light, and at the center was a platform that floated slightly above the floor. The alien king turned to her, his golden eyes fixed on her face. "This is your first trial," he said. "It is a test of mind, heart, and spirit. You may fail, but you may also rise above what you believe are your limits." Stomach twisted with anticipation. "What must I do?" she asked, her voice steady, though a tremor of uncertainty lingered. The king gestured, and suddenly the platform beneath her feet shifted. Lights danced around her, forming shapes she could not name. The chamber seemed to stretch endlessly, filled with illusions that challenged her perception. She saw visions of her village destroyed, of her friends lost, of herself giving in to fear. Every scenario was more terrifying than the last, designed to break her resolve. Her first instinct was to flee, to close her eyes and pretend it wasn't real. But then she remembered her father's words. "A true human faces what others flee and finds strength where none seems to exist." She opened her eyes, focusing on the core of her being, the part that had always believed in bravery, curiosity, and hope. Step by step moved forward across the platform. The illusions attacked her mind, but she responded with thought, logic, and the courage she had nurtured all her life. She remembered the people she loved, the home she had left behind, and the spark of humanity that burned inside her. With each step, the visions weakened, fading like mist in the morning sun. The alien king observed quietly. He did not intervene, yet could feel his presence, a silent acknowledgement of her struggle. He had traveled across galaxies, seen countless beings, yet there was something unusual about this human child. Something unyielding, unbroken, and full of potential. Hours, or maybe minutes, time felt strange here passed. Finally reached the center of the platform. The illusions vanished, leaving only the soft glow of the chamber. She was trembling, her muscles sore from concentration, but she was smiling. She had faced the unknown and had not faltered. The alien king stepped forward. "You have done well," he said, his voice echoing gently. "Many would have fallen, few would have endured. You possess a resilience that is rare, even among your kind." Felt a flush of pride, but also a surge of questions. "Why me? Why choose a human child?" she asked. The king's gaze softened just slightly. "Humans have a spark that is different. You are fragile in body, yet your mind and heart carry strength beyond measure. That is what makes your kind remarkable." For the first time, felt a flicker of understanding. This was not merely a test. The alien king was studying her, not to harm, but to measure, to see if she could rise beyond fear, to see if humanity could shine in the darkness of the stars. She straightened her shoulders. "I want to learn, I want to understand everything I can." The king nodded. "Then you will continue. There are more trials ahead. Not all will be simple, and some will challenge the very limits of your courage and wisdom. But I sense you are ready." As looked around the chamber, she realized she was not afraid. The vast unknown still loomed, but she carried something greater than fear, hope, courage, and the enduring spirit of humanity. She was small, she was human, yet in her heart, she felt as vast and infinite as the stars themselves. And so her journey had truly begun. The ship hummed softly as followed the alien king deeper into its endless corridors. Every step she took made her heart beat faster, not from fear but from anticipation. She had passed her first trial, proving her courage, but she could feel that the real challenges were only beginning. The king's golden eyes watched her closely, silently assessing every movement, every breath, every heartbeat. They arrived at a chamber that was very different from the last. The walls were dark, almost black, absorbing the soft light around them. At the center, a small orb floated in the air, glowing faintly with a pale blue light. Felt drawn toward it, though she did not understand why. The alien king stopped and gestured toward the orb. "This," he said, "is your next trial. It is not one of strength, nor is it one of fear. It is a test of choice." His brow furrowed. "Choice?" she asked, stepping closer to the floating sphere. "Yes," the king replied. "This orb shows the path of possibilities. You will see many futures, some safe, some dangerous. Some will challenge your morality, and some will tempt you with ease and comfort. You must choose wisely, for your decisions will shape not only your fate, but the fate of many others." Her pulse quickened. She looked at the orb, and suddenly visions began to form inside it. She saw her village again, peaceful and safe if she chose a certain path. She saw strangers suffering if she chose another. She saw herself faltering, giving up, and being lost among the stars. Her heart twisted at the sight of so many outcomes, each demanding a choice. The weight of responsibility pressed down on her, heavier than any fear she had ever felt. Her small hands trembled as she reached out toward the orb. How could one person decide what was right? She wondered. How could I choose between lives, between hope and safety? The alien king spoke softly, almost kindly. The choices are not easy. The path of courage is rarely the path of comfort. But your heart, your humanity, will guide you if you listen closely. Closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She thought of her father, of her friends, of the stories that had inspired her to face the unknown. She remembered that humans were never perfect, but they had a gift no alien could take away, the ability to care deeply, to feel responsibility for others, and to act even when the outcome was uncertain. Opening her eyes, she reached out and touched the orb. Immediately, the visions shifted. Instead of showing only the futures, the orb reflected her own feelings, determination, hope, and the courage she had nurtured all her life. She realized then that the trial was not about choosing the right path, but about trusting herself and acting with integrity. "I choose to face the danger," she said firmly, her voice echoing softly in the chamber. "I will do what is necessary to protect others, even if it is hard, even if I do not know what will happen." The orb pulsed with light, brighter and brighter, until it dissolved into sparkles that drifted like stars around her. The chamber seemed to breathe, and felt a warmth in her chest, a quiet pride, an understanding that she had done what she could with her humanity. The alien king stepped forward. "You have done well, human child," he said. "Many would have chosen the easy path, the one that required no sacrifice. But you have chosen courage, compassion, and wisdom. That is the essence of what I have been seeking." His chest rose and fell rapidly. "Why me?" she asked again, her voice soft with curiosity and awe. "Why not someone older, stronger, or wiser?" The king's gaze softened and for the first time sensed something almost like admiration. Strength is not always measured by size, age, or power. True strength lies in the heart, in the ability to act rightly when the choice is difficult. Humans carry that spark in ways others cannot. That is why you are here. For a moment, felt overwhelmed by the enormity of the truth she had just glimpsed. She was small, human, fragile even, but inside her burned a fire of courage, compassion, and wisdom. A fire that no alien technology, no impossible challenge could ever extinguish. And in that moment, she understood something profound. This journey was not only about trials, but about discovering the greatness within herself, the greatness that defined humanity across the stars. She straightened her shoulders, her gaze steady. The alien king nodded, a silent acknowledgement of her growth. Ahead lay more challenges, more unknowns, but felt ready. Her heart was strong, her mind clear, and her spirit unbreakable. The trial had tested her, but it had also revealed something far greater, the power of a human will when guided by courage and integrity. And with that spark, she could face whatever awaited her in the endless expanse of the universe. The corridors of the alien ship twisted and turned like a labyrinth. Followed the alien king, her senses alert to every sound, every shimmer of light. Though she had passed the trials of courage and choice, she could feel that a new challenge awaited her, one that would demand not just her heart, but her mind. They arrived at a large chamber filled with strange machines and glowing panels. Some devices hummed and rotated, others projected holographic maps that shifted constantly. At the center, a massive door blocked the far wall, sealed with a complex mechanism that pulsed with energy. The alien king turned to her, his golden eyes calm but serious. "This is your next test, human. It is not only a test of courage or morality, but of ingenuity. You must open the door or the path forward will remain closed. Many beings could not decipher it. I am curious to see if you can." Stepped closer, examining the mechanism. It was intricate, full of symbols she had never seen, yet her mind worked quickly. Humans had survived impossible odds using creativity, logic, and observation to overcome challenges far beyond their size or strength. She drew upon that same spark now, letting her mind explore patterns, possibilities, and solutions. She reached out, touching the panels one by one, noticing that each symbol responded differently to her fingers. Some glowed brighter, others dimmed. The room seemed to react to her thoughts, as if it were testing not just her hands, but her understanding. She paused, considering what she had learned from previous trials. Courage and morality were important, but so was clarity of mind and calm reasoning. Minutes passed, or maybe hours, before she noticed a subtle rhythm in the pulsing lights. It mirrored a heartbeat, steady and precise. Realized the mechanism was alive in some sense, responding to thought and perception rather than brute force. She aligned the symbols according to the rhythm, adjusting carefully. Each time she made a correct sequence, the panels emitted a soft chime. The alien king observed silently, his expression unreadable. Felt a flicker of doubt. What if I am wrong, she thought. What if I fail after coming this far? But then she remembered the lessons she had learned, the strength of her heart, the clarity of her choices, the fire of human ingenuity. She took a deep breath and focused, trusting her instincts. With a final movement, she completed the sequence. The massive door shuddered, then slowly swung open with a sound that reverberated through the chamber. Light poured in from the other side, warm and inviting, stepped back, her chest heaving with a mixture of relief and pride. She had done it. She had faced the impossible and succeeded, using only her mind and her courage. The alien king's eyes gleamed with approval. "Impressive," he said simply. "Few could have solved this challenge. You have demonstrated the human gift that I seek, creativity, determination, and an unwavering spirit. These traits cannot be replicated by machines nor forced by power. They arise naturally from the heart of your kind." Smiled faintly, feeling a warmth of accomplishment. I just tried to think clearly," she said humbly. "I wanted to understand it, not just force it open." The king inclined his head slightly. "That is precisely why you succeeded. Strength without understanding is meaningless. You have shown that humans, though small and seemingly fragile, can achieve what others cannot, simply through clarity, patience, and resolve." For the first time, felt a bond with the alien before her, not one of fear, but of mutual recognition. She realized that the king was not merely testing her for sport. He was seeking a kind of truth about humanity, a spark that shone in moments of challenge and innovation. As she walked through the newly opened door, felt more confident than ever. Each trial had taught her something valuable: courage, moral strength, and now ingenuity. She was small, human, and alone among the stars, but she carried within her the greatest weapon of all, a mind and spirit that refused to yield. The corridor beyond the door stretched into darkness, filled with unknown dangers and mysteries. Did not hesitate. She stepped forward, ready to face whatever awaited, her heart steady and her mind sharp. Humanity had survived impossible odds before, and she would prove that same strength could shine among the stars. And in that quiet moment, the alien king's eyes followed her, his expression unreadable but thoughtful. Perhaps, he mused, humans were more remarkable than he had imagined. The corridor beyond the massive door was dark and silent, yet could feel the ships hum all around her. Strange shadows stretched along the walls, shifting as if alive. Each step she took echoed softly, and the faint glow from the panels on the walls was barely enough to guide her. She felt a thrill in her chest, a mix of fear, excitement, and determination. The alien king followed silently behind her. He said nothing, letting her explore and observe. His golden eyes reflected the dim light, studying her closely, noting how she moved, how she reacted, how she thought. Felt that each step was a test, not only of her courage, but of her wits. Suddenly, the corridor opened into a vast chamber, its ceiling lost in shadows above. The walls pulsed with faint energy, and in the center a figure emerged, a being she had not seen before. It was large, dark, and almost shapeless, moving with fluid, silent motions. Froze. The being seemed to sense her fear, drawing it toward itself like a predator. The alien king spoke, his voice calm but firm. "This is your trial, human. Not all tests are solved by intellect or courage alone. Some require heart, instinct, and understanding. Face it, and you may succeed. Hesitate, and it may overwhelm you." Swallowed, her heart pounding. She remembered every lesson she had learned: courage in the face of fear, wisdom in the choices she made, ingenuity in solving problems. But now none of that seemed enough. This being was unlike any machine, any puzzle, or any illusion. It was alive, and it seemed drawn to the faintest tremor of doubt within her. She took a deep breath, forcing herself to stay calm. Fear was natural, but it would not control her. Humans had faced impossible odds for using courage, mind, and heart as weapons. Fingers clenched at her sides as she considered her options. Running would not help, yet confronting the shadow head-on without thought could be dangerous. She needed a plan, even if improvised. The shadow moved closer, sensing hesitation. Its shape twisted and shifted, forming tendrils that reached toward her. Its mind raced. It reacts to emotion, to fear, she realized. If I stay calm, it may not harm me. She slowed her breathing, steadying her pulse, and spoke softly, almost to herself. I am not afraid. I am human. I will not yield. The shadow paused, its form flickering as if confused by her defiance. His heart beat steadily now, her confidence growing. She remembered the lessons of ingenuity she had learned in the previous trial. Instead of attacking the shadow, she moved around it carefully, observing how it reacted. It mirrored her movements, but she noticed a pattern. It hesitated whenever she approached without fear, mirrored fearlessly. With careful steps, she led the shadow toward a glowing panel at the edge of the chamber. Its energy pulsed in rhythm with the ship itself. Remembered the mechanism from the last trial, the way observation and understanding could solve a problem. She reached out and touched the panel, guiding the shadow to reflect its own energy toward the light. The shadow paused, then slowly dissolved into shimmering particles, absorbed into the chamber's glow. The tension in its chest eased, replaced by a rush of relief and pride. She had faced the unknown, not with weapons, not with force, but with understanding, calm, and courage, the very essence of humanity. The alien king stepped forward, his golden eyes shining. You have done more than survive, human. You have understood. Many would have reacted with panic or aggression. Few would have found the harmony within fear, and fewer still would have used it to their advantage. That is the power I see in humans, a combination of mind, heart, and spirit. Smiled faintly, her hands still trembling slightly. It was not easy, she admitted. But I remembered who I am and what humans are capable of. The king inclined his head, silently acknowledging her growth. You carry the spark of your kind with clarity and strength. That spark will guide you in the trials ahead. You are small, yet your courage and understanding make you formidable. For a moment, looked around the chamber, realizing that fear could be a guide rather than a weapon against her. The shadow had tested her, but she had learned from it. Humanity had always faced the unknown and prevailed not by strength alone, but through ingenuity, courage, and heart. And as she walked forward with the alien king beside her, felt a quiet certainty. No matter what dangers awaited in the uncharted reaches of the cosmos, her spirit, her mind, and the fire of humanity would never falter. The chamber ahead was unlike anything had seen before. It was vast and open, filled with floating platforms that glimmered with soft light. Across the expanse, a glowing figure waited, radiating power and authority. Could feel the air thrum with energy, as if the ship itself were alive, watching her every move. The alien king turned to her. This is the final trial before the path forward. It is a test of your heart. You will face decisions that may seem impossible, and your choices will define the essence of who you are. Few have ever succeeded, human. Let your spirit guide you. His chest tightened. She had faced fear, choice, and ingenuity, but this trial felt different. It demanded more than courage or intelligence. It demanded honesty, empathy, and unwavering integrity. She took a deep breath, recalling everything she had learned so far, that fear could be faced, that choices could be guided by heart, and that even the smallest human could shine brightly in the darkest place. As she stepped onto the first floating platform, the glowing figure spoke, its voice echoing like music. Many before you would choose power or safety or comfort. They would act for themselves. What will you do? Paused, looking at the figure. She could feel temptation, an easy path that promised safety and reward, but she shook her head. Humans survived not by choosing ease, but by doing what was right, even when it was difficult. I will not act for myself, she said firmly. I will act for others, for those who cannot defend themselves, and for what is right. The figure's light shifted, creating illusions of her friends, her village, and even strangers across distant worlds. Each scenario asked her to make a choice. Save one, save many, save herself. Her heart pounded, but she held firm. She realized the answer was not in choosing a single path, it was in understanding the value of compassion, the courage to act without selfishness. Moved carefully across the platforms, making each decision with clarity and thought. She helped illusions that represented those in danger, balanced safety with sacrifice, and stayed true to her principles. Each choice lit up the platform beneath her feet, guiding her forward. The glowing figure observed silently, its light pulsing with growing intensity. Felt her spirit lift, realizing that the trial was not about perfection, but about intent, the intention to act with heart, to value life and goodness above all else. Finally, she reached the central platform. The figure's light enveloped her, and she felt a warmth unlike anything she had experienced. The alien king's voice echoed softly in the chamber. "You have succeeded, human. You have shown that courage, ingenuity, and wisdom are only part of what makes your kind remarkable. The heart, the ability to act rightly and with compassion, is the true measure of strength." Tears pricked eyes. She had faced trials that seemed impossible, and yet she had emerged not broken, but stronger. She realized that humanity's true power lay not in weapons, machines, or brute strength, but in the mind, the spirit, and the heart. The alien king stepped closer, his golden eyes warm with respect. "You have endured more than most. You have shown what it means to be human, a being capable of hope, courage, intelligence, and compassion. You carry a light that can guide even the darkest path." Felt a quiet pride, but also humility. She had been tested, yes, but she had also grown. She understood that the challenges ahead would not always be easy, and that even when fear and uncertainty pressed upon her, the fire of humanity could burn brighter than any darkness. "I understand," she whispered softly. "I will carry this spark whatever comes next." The chamber seemed to respond, the floating platform stabilizing and glowing with soft golden light. Felt as if the ship itself acknowledged her achievement, and for the first time she felt completely confident in her place among the stars. She was small, human, and alone in a vast universe, but she carried a power no alien technology could replicate, a heart that chose courage, empathy, and hope above all else. The alien king nodded once more. "The final path awaits, human. Step forward, and you will see what destiny holds for one who bears the light of humanity." Took a deep breath and stepped toward the glowing exit. Ahead lay the unknown, the challenges of the cosmos, and the chance to prove that humanity could shine where others could not. Her heart was steady, her mind sharp, and her spirit unbreakable. She was ready. The final chamber was unlike anything had seen before. It stretched endlessly, a space filled with floating lights that shimmered like stars, casting a soft glow over the metallic floor. At the center, a massive portal pulsed with energy, radiating warmth and power. The alien king stood beside it, his golden eyes fixed on her with a rare intensity. "This is the last stage, human," he said. "Beyond this portal lies a test that will challenge everything you have learned, your courage, your intellect, and above all, your heart. Many who enter fail, few emerge stronger. Are you ready?" Squared her shoulders, her mind was clear, her heart steady. She remembered every lesson of the journey, courage in the face of fear, clarity in making choices, ingenuity in solving problems, and the power of compassion above all. She nodded. "I am ready." The portal shimmered, responding to her resolve. As she stepped forward, the room seemed to dissolve around her, replaced by a vision of her own world, a vast landscape in danger. A cosmic storm threatened the planet, its energy swirling violently. Realized immediately that this was not just an illusion. It was a reflection of reality, a test to see how she would respond under ultimate pressure. Her first instinct was panic, but she remembered the trials she had faced. Fear could be controlled, it could be transformed into focus and determination. She drew a deep breath and let her mind work, scanning the situation. The storm was powerful, but there were patterns, rhythms she could detect, and weak points she could exploit. She moved, not with brute force, but with strategy. She guided energy flows, redirected currents, and stabilized sections of the storm using her understanding of balance and logic. Her actions were precise, deliberate, and guided by heart as much as by reason. Every decision she made saved countless lives, both human and alien, and reinforced the truth she had carried throughout her journey, that courage, intellect, and compassion together were humanity's greatest strength. The alien king observed silently from the edges of the vision, his golden eyes reflecting admiration. He had seen countless civilizations, witnessed countless beings attempt the impossible, yet none had approached the challenge with such clarity and moral integrity. His hands moved steadily, her mind sharp, her heart full. She realized then that the greatest power a human possessed was not physical strength or alien technology. It was the ability to care, to think, and to act rightly even in the most impossible circumstances. That spark of humanity burned brighter than any storm, brighter than any fear, brighter than any force in the cosmos. Finally, the storm calmed. The swirling chaos dissipated, leaving calm skies and a world restored, stood at the center of the vision, exhausted yet triumphant. She had faced the ultimate challenge and had prevailed not through luck or power, but through the essence of what it meant to be human. The portal shimmered and returned her to the chamber. The alien king stepped forward, his gaze unwavering. "You have surpassed all expectations, human. You have demonstrated the strength of your species, courage, intelligence, creativity, and compassion. You have shown that even the smallest and seemingly weakest among humans can shine brighter than the greatest forces in the universe." Tears welled in his eyes, but they were tears of pride and understanding. She had traveled across stars, faced trials beyond imagination, and discovered the truth of her own spirit. She realized that humanity's power was not in dominance or weapons, but in the unwavering spark of heart and mind, in the courage to face the impossible, and in the wisdom to act rightly. The alien king extended his hand, not as a ruler to a subject, but as one being acknowledging another. "You carry a light that others could never replicate, human. Go forth and let that light guide your people. Let it guide the universe." Took a deep breath and stepped forward, accepting his words. She felt the warmth of understanding, the pride of accomplishment, and the unshakable certainty that humans could endure anything. Though she was small, human, and fragile in form, her spirit, and the spirit of her kind, was limitless. As she walked toward the exit, the ship's lights shimmered brighter, reflecting the brilliance of her triumph. Beyond the stars, across the cosmos, humanity's spark would shine, resilient and unyielding, a beacon for all who doubted the power of courage, heart, and mind. And in that moment understood fully, humans were small in body but giants in spirit, and no challenge, no storm, no alien force could ever dim that light.